Hello there. So, the painting that we're looking at right now is the first painting that I ever did, and I did it back in January 12th, 2020, so the beginning of this year. I titled it A River Runs Through It. There's a movie with that name, and I really like that movie, so that's not why I did the painting. But it's a very textured painting. It was my first attempt, and I really do like how it turned out, but it's very texturized, and it was not my intent of that, so you can actually see like some of it. I can get it fairly close to the camera. So this is all texturized. I was able to get this from my classroom, so that's why it's home actually. So I went to my classroom today because all of my paintings are in my classroom except for the ones I did during quarantine, obviously. But I started it out as trying to get like the students to see that you can do them more than just one thing, and that I'm not just a math teacher. So even like the detail of the sun, just everything, like you can literally touch this and feel all of it. And I haven't done one like this yet, because this was done by accident. So I'm pretty shocked on how well it turned out. But this is my very first one that I did. How I got this technique back here was I first started off with tin foil. I saw a YouTube video on how they use tin foil and put it back there. So I tried that with this and with the water, and it did not work at all. So this I actually just put white in, and I just kind of scraped it along with a palette knife. And then I ended up using a sponge back here, and cutting up a sponge, and that ended up working better. And a lot of my students like this one. This is one of their favorites. I'm not quite sure why. It's not the best one, but they do like this one. So this is my very first one. So this is number 1, A River Runs Through It. And I have to dig through my collection to find the next one. I know I brought it home because I took all of them off my wall, but I don't see it. How could it not be here? I took them all off. Did I miss a couple? Huh. I know I grabbed all of them. I must have not grabbed the next one. Well, if I ever do find it, I will show it to you. I do not know why I don't have it. That's really weird, because I know I grabbed all of them. Okay, so I can show you the first one, but I can't show you the second one. But I can show you the third one. This is my third one, and they're all this smaller size. My original ones are, and then I moved up from there, and then I kind of went to a bigger size, but then I came back. So this is my very favorite one. This is my horse, and it's modeled directly off of a picture of her. I did take out a fence and some of the other horses that were here, but this is exactly how she was standing and how it looks there. If you get closer, you can look at some of the detail. I really like how this one turned out. And this one, I'm looking at my records here because I keep records of all my paintings. This one is titled, well, You Are My Sunshine, and it was done on January 25th. And I know it took me a couple of weeks to do to get this just right. So we have this one. The next one is my second favorite one. Actually, if you look here, um, there's this one, and then my sunshine one. So this was a really small one. This is a step up from there. So I did go up. And I do remember when I bought this that I wanted to go small because I was just starting and I didn't want to have a big one and have to fill a huge canvas. But then I did go up from there. And there is one missing, and again, I do not know where it is. I must have left it at school. I can't believe I did that, but I must have. So then I did one more, and then I did Sunshine. So Sunshine's my third one. This one, oh, I actually found it. It was tucked away. It was a tiny one, so it was actually tucked in like this. It was in like this, inside. So the one I'm going to show you next is actually my number 2. So this is my second one. It's another small one, same size as my first one. What I did is I was trying to do a YouTube video, trying to do one like a YouTube video, and it didn't work out. So I took the palette knife and I scraped away a lot of the background, and that's how you got this effect. And then I figured, all right, I'm just going to put in trees. So I put in a couple of trees, and then I put in an eagle there. And then I put some dots in there for some stars that are shining through. So if I get this close, you can see a little bit more detail. I really like how this tree turned out. The highlight on it turned out really good. I'm still working on how to do trees. But I remember this one took me quite a while to try and get just right. And it turned out pretty good. So this is my second one. So this is officially my second one. Sunshine's my third one. And now I'll show you my second favorite one, which is I love so much. And it took me the longest to do. So this one I titled Field of Gold. And this part I did first, and then I put this in. This is from a picture of the Becker Wildlife Area, really close to where I live. When you leave town going north and then you come back, there's a shot that you get of the wildlife area that looks like this. These are trees in the background, and I loved it so much and was like, I want to paint it. The trees are green, and then this was all yellow. But I wanted to kind of play with some stuff here. So the top part is kind of a kind of Van Gogh-ish type. So there's 2 different techniques that are on here. So this is kind of more of a Van Gogh, and this is more of a trees are kind of a the trees got really good. It took me a whole long time to do the trees. Those are kind of like a Bob Ross type thing. This is also what we consider kind of Van Gogh-ish. Down here, I actually trimmed a brush. Actually trimmed a couple of brushes, and I can show you the brushes that I trimmed to get that technique. There. So this is the one brush I cut. So it was a big brush, and I don't have any other big brushes like this, but I'm pretty sure I don't. No. But I cut it so I could get this effect down here. So I put a lot of this pale color in here, and then I just kind of slapped it on there. This paint that I use that's down here is very thick, and so it laid on there just right, and so I was able to kind of like scratch into it to kind of get the effect that it is. So it kind of looks like wheat and stuff. And then I also did this one where I cut this one. I don't like fan brushes, but I like this fan brush, and it's half cut. And I did that to kind of get this effect here, which took a long time. And then I did this. And what's really cool about this painting is from far away it looks one way, but then when you get really up close you can see the detail that really pops out. Um, so I really like that. I did take a paint pen and put some of this detail that's in there, so you can kind of see the grass. There's kind of a wind coming from this way. And there's like storm clouds up here. I really like this one, how it turned out. Again, it's one of my favorites. It took me a long time. I think I started this with the trees and I had to walk away from it because it wasn't turning out the way that I wanted to, and then I came back. And then once you start putting this stuff in here because you want it to blend nice, you just have to keep going. And I just kept going, kept going. And what I'm struggling with now, and you'll see on another painting that I'll talk about, is, okay, you put in this one layer here, okay, but then there's this other layer here, and it kept like stacking. So I did put in this, so it kind of comes this way a little bit, and then I kind of put in this line so that it, comes down this way instead of it just being straight across. Yeah, so I'm still struggling with that, trying to get more depth. But this one worked out really well with that. And again, it's my second favorite. If I hadn't done the sunshine one, this definitely would be my favorite. I look at it all the time, and I do paintings that I want to look at. I don't do paintings that I don't like. Okay, so this is my second favorite, and this one I did February 5th of this year. And then I'm going to go to one that I was inspired by Bob Ross. He does a lot of mountains, and I was trying to, as you see, that's why this was kind of far away before, but now I can get it a little bit closer and tip this down a little bit more so we get a better view, because now we got big. So let's do a comparison. So this was the size of my original ones, and this is the size that I get to my fifth one. So I went from here to here, and then I went to here. So the sunshine one and this one are only in that size. The night sky one, which is titled They Shall Mount Up with Wings as Eagles, that's with the sunset. That one and the original one are the only ones of that size, and then there's several of this size. And I really like this size, but you know what? I'm kind of looking at the smaller ones, and I think I might go with those smaller ones now that I look at them. Because I know that Monet did several of them that were tiny, and he also did ones that were big. So I did this one because I was inspired by Bob Ross, and I tried doing the mountains. He uses a palette knife that looks very similar to this one, and I've actually named it Bob Ross. And I tried putting those in there. It just wasn't working for me. So it's not my favorite on how it turned out. And then I tried to put in this tree line with some snow, but then again, like I was talking to you about the previous painting, how it always goes in like a line, because you can't paint something in and then try and go back, because once you do it, you can't change it. So I'm not happy with how it's one solid color and then another color and then another color, but I learned quite a bit from this one. I kind of like that it turned out to look like a moor. If you don't know what a moor is, you should read Sherlock Holmes. Just saying. Educate yourself. I really like how it turned out that way, and I really like this effect right here, how it just kind of took all that on. What I did do is it was all in a straight lines like this, but then I later on put this in to kind of break up the monotony, and I like that I did do that. Otherwise it would have just kind of looked the same. But then I did this one, And this one I titled The Mountains Beyond, and then I had Ms. Marge Trumbauer say that she really liked this one, so I got inspired by that. And I did another mountain painting, which took a long time, but I used my technique instead of Bob Ross's technique, and I actually do like how the mountains turned out on this one. So these are the mountains that I worked on. I wanted to get that line that you see of bright and dark on each one of them, and I really liked how I got that effect. And then I started putting in some trees. It's kind of like they're out there, and then I put these ones in, and I actually put them all here, and I didn't like how it turned out. So I actually put in another cliff right here. So this one is titled From Above, and I really took a long time trying to get this just right because I wanted to get the difference between the light and the dark side, and then I wanted to make sure that I got like this effect that was happening here. So I really built this up, and you'll see how much I built it up. It actually cracked, but a lot of people told me they like that on there because it kind of like shows like the snow is cracking. I was like, oh, okay. But I really do kind of like that effect, and I like how it feels. I'm one of those people that likes to touch stuff, and if I was, obviously, you can't do that when you're in a big gallery. You can't walk up to like a Monet and like, oh, feel his brush strokes. I would love to feel his brush strokes, but can't do that. And I absolutely understand why. Don't touch a painting. Your oils from your hands get on there. Now, I'm going to touch mine because these are mine, and I can do whatever the heck I want, but just don't touch them because your oils get on here and can change stuff. But mine are not that fancy, so don't worry about it. I used a different technique for the trees here, and they're okay, but I'm not satisfied completely with how they turned out. So that one's called From Above, and those were all done in February. And then this one, I have to take a picture yet and upload because it was in my classroom and I never took a picture of it. I just took it straight to school. This was the first one. This was towards the end of February. And I titled this one The Calm Dark Waters. I kind of imagined this one. There's a story, a true story, called about the four chaplains, and they all went down with the ship. I recommend you read the book. I have the book if you'd like to borrow it. But I really like how this one turned out, and well, I'll kind of go in closer so you can see a little bit more of it, so you can see kind of the detail of it. So this was kind of done. It's a different style that I used on this, and this black isn't really showing up really well because of the light. But there's like this depth that you get when you look at it far away, but then when you get it close, you can really see that there is detail in it. So here's the trick on how I did this one. You see that there's a lot of sky, and then there's more sky than there is water. It's all about perspective, okay? So this is how I actually painted it, and that was not my intention. This was supposed to be the water, this was supposed to be the sky, but I got to this point and stuff just like wasn't working and I wasn't getting it, and so I changed my perspective. I flipped it around and I went, you know what, here we got it. We got the water. Just got the water on the bottom. So this one I have to take a picture of and upload so I can add it to my collection because I do not have a picture of this one in my collection yet. So this was number 7 that I did. This was the last one that I did non-quarantine. All the next ones are during quarantine, and I will have to get those off my wall. These ones I took from my school. So the other ones are over there on the wall, and I will have to grab them in just a moment. So that's the last one, non-quarantine. this is the first one. And it actually does not go that way. Believe it or not, I know which way it goes. So I varnished this, and that's why it's glossy. So it's a glossy varnish. I call this Splitting Two Worlds. This was done in March, kind of late March, because of everything that was going on. March 23rd, this one got done. I did the right-hand side, and then I was trying to put in the left-hand side. And I'm finding out that when I do the right-hand side and then try and do the left-hand side, they don't match up. They don't even look the same. I can get the right-hand side looking really nice, and then I try and do the left-hand side to look like the right-hand side, and it doesn't work. But that wasn't my intention all along anyways. There's a path, and I wanted to be able to like look at this from above. And depending on which way the light hits it, different things kind of pop out of it. So you kind of have to like turn it. And it's because of the gloss, the glossy varnish that's on it. So you have the light side, and then you have this side that's kind of got the mist of it. So it's kind of like you're splitting two worlds, the light and the dark. So that was the first quarantine one. Going through all my paintings. And then I went up in size. So this is the biggest size that I have. And I'm going to move this just a smidge if I can. There we go. So this one is From the Moon to the Earth, and there is a TV show called From the Earth to the Moon, and I flipped it around because this is from the moon to the earth. Again, I varnished this with the high gloss, and you can actually see where I overlapped with the gloss if you turn it just right. But there is actually a video on Facebook and on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is called Painting with Becca Taylor, and you can tune into it to see kind of like the sped up version of some of the stuff that I did. This is my third favorite. I really do like this. So I started with the background all black, and then I put in the earth, and then I put in the landscape. And I really do like how it turned out. It's not exactly how it looks. I didn't really model it off of anything, but that's fine. But this is like my third favorite. If somebody said I want that, I'd tell them, no, that's mine. Okay, so there's that one. Now I'm really getting them to pile up here. Okay, then the next one is going to be kind of tricky for me to get to. I gotta move some stuff. And the next one I got inspired by Monet's Garden. So this is another large one, and depending on which way you look at it, there's different details that pop out on it. So if I can tip it just right. So I'll move. I don't need to move that. That's fine. Actually showing up the glare from that showing up really nice on here. So this is kind of Monet's Garden. I went off of a picture of our pond, trying to get in the technique of the lily pads. As you can see, get really close up on it. Trying to get it so that you could see that it's actually popping off of the water. And same thing with this one. Trying to use a different technique to get it to look just right. And so that you can see that it curls up at the top, but then it comes down and lays kind of flat on the water. I really like how it turned out. The background was really kind of cool to do. As you can see, I really like how I got that in there. The only thing that I wish I would have changed is you have this one here. As you can see, there's two tones on there. It's kind of hard to see because of the light that's shining on it. But there's actually two tones of different color on there. no matter how I turn it. The only thing that I would like to change, if you don't know, this is a lily pad that's kind of growing out. That's how they grow. Is that this one would have been maybe a little bit smaller and maybe up here a little bit more so that you could see that there was a depth to this, and maybe have something up here because it's kind of just nothing. But after I did these two, I was exhausted and was like, I'm not doing any more because those were very challenging to do. Took me a long time to get them that way, and I like how they turned out. So that one is called Lilies on the Pond, and that was done, so I did several of them in a succession. Number 8, 9, and 10, I did the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So I did quite a few. And that's when we were on our spring break. And then the next one is another one of my favorites. This one is titled Reaching for the Stars, kind of in memory of the Apollo 13 crew. So I first painted in the background, then I painted in this, then I painted in the exhaust. And if you get closer, you can see that there's actually texture in it, and it did crack a little bit because there's actually quite a bit of layering there. And then I put in the water vapor on the sides, and I learned an awesome technique to do the water vapor. I figured, you know what, I'm just going to try it out and see if it worked, and it actually did work. So I actually used this technique again on other paintings that I did. That's why I like using acrylic, because you can use water in there and it mixes pretty good. So this is one of my other favorites that I really like, because you can see the depth to the water vapor. That was my 11th one that I've done, and that one was done during quarantine as well, so that's my 4th one I did during quarantine. I'm running out of room now. And that, I believe, yes, that is the last one I glossed over. Varnished. Now there's one more, but I cannot show you because I actually gifted it, and it's of Batman. But don't worry, I have another Batman one that I will show you here in just a little bit, but I have to walk over here. And while I'm over here, I'm just going to grab the next ones. I have to take them all off the wall, and I'm running out of wall space. And some people have told me, well, sell yours. No. These are my prized possessions. So next one I did is in memory of Corey McBride. And then this one, so the other 3 were really big paintings. Those are the only 3 at that size. So for perspective, here's the really big one, and then I went down a size. And those are my 3 that size. I do have a canvas back here that is the big size, but it is a broken canvas, and I use it for scrap stuff. And I actually like that I kept it around. So those big ones I varnished. These ones I did not varnish. I actually have some matte varnish that's coming because I want to make sure that I protect these. So this was done in memory of Corey McBride. This is modeled after a picture that I saw online. It's not exact, but I did put some trees in here, and yes, they are happy little trees. And then I put in this landscape, which took quite a bit, and as you see, I'm kind of doing it in layers. And then I was trying to kind of merge those layers so that they didn't look like they're, I'm just doing a layer, because that's not how nature works unless you plant them like that perfectly. So I got to about here, and then I stopped, and then I went in and I put her in her confirmation dress, and then I went back in and I filled this area, and then I started the rest of it. And I wanted some grass kind of in here, so it kind of looks like, there's grass and then there's some flowers. As you see, there's, this line that's right there of stuff. So I wished it would have turned out a little bit better, but I did learn quite a bit from this one. And this is the only one that has the most color on it. Her favorite color was pink, so I tried to incorporate it as much as I could into the painting. So even like the sky, if you get up close, the sky has some pink in it. And then, of course, the painting has a lot of pink. But this is the one that has the most color in it of all of my paintings. I don't have a lot of color in my paintings. As you'll see from this time on, you'll be like, oh, kind of boring. Well, they're not, but they're not just like, color. Because this one I titled On Earth as It Is in Heaven, because she passed away. She was in an accident on July 12th, 2017. And she passed away on July 15th. So it's kind of like a heavenly scene, almost. Okay, so done with that one, and I'm being surrounded by paintings, which is not a bad thing. Okay, I'm gonna put that one there. What's my next one? Oh, yes, it is this one. Again, I did a Batman painting, but I can't show you because my brother has it. This is the only vertical painting that I have. And it's just because, well, it's Batman, and I'm doing more of a portrait instead of a landscape. What's really cool about this is from far away it just looks like, I just painted it in, but there is a lot of detail. I got this technique from the Apollo one, and then I put this one in, so when you get up close you can actually see that there is detail up in here and the back of his neck, and there's a break from the headpiece to the cape, and the cape has quite a bit of detail in it. I really like how this turned out. It wasn't a simple painting, so I think the more simpler something looks, kind of the harder it is. And I like that I kind of put this black edge along the whole painting. It kind of framed it up really nice. So that's this one's titled Night Watch. Get it? Anybody get it? Renoir? Night Watch? Okay, you need to look up that painting. Phone's ringing. So there's this one. This is my 14th painting, and it is my 7th painting in quarantine. Okay, so I did that one. And now I gotta flip the page. I actually have a book of all of my paintings. Okay, the next one. Where is it? I kind of put it off somewhere. I do not know where I put it. That's because it's not one of my favorites, and I don't really... I mean, I like it, but it's not like a great painting to me. Where did I put it? This is bad when you can't find your own paintings because you have so many. Okay, I have these two that I've done recently. There's that one that I've done recently. There's this one that I haven't finished. Oh, it's on the wall back here. It's a good thing I have a book on all my stuff. Okay, so this one was this was an actual tutorial that Bob Ross did. And it's called Emerald something that he had. Oh, I didn't know this could go up. Things I learn. Look at that, it can go up. And if you are my family, you're saying right now, hey Becca, it can go up. Yeah, I got it. That's kind of cool. So I can just lower it up and down for you. Emerald Waters, that's what it was called. One of his videos. So I attempted to do it. Didn't turn out the best because I'm still having troubles with trees. So I put in this technique for the trees, and that did fairly well. The background is not really good. But I learned quite a bit on how to do the trees here and this tree here. So I actually put it in, and then I put branches in, and then I put the tree branches. And then these bushes are kind of like a Van Gogh type style bushes. And I kind of like how that did, but the rest of it I really don't care for. If somebody said, I really like that, can I have it? Yeah, here, take it. Actually, I'd have to ask my dad first because he likes it. So that's why it's actually on the wall back here. It's because my dad really likes it. And so I keep it because of him. Otherwise, and I'm not painting over it because I need to see that technique that I used for the trees in the future. So now I have to grab one up here. And this is the first actual face I did. The first person I did, maybe quotes, because not actually a person, was Batman. So this is the first person that I did, which also happens to be another fictional character. This is The Witcher. So if you're on Netflix and you've seen it, this is what I attempted to do of The Witcher. It's kind of my version of it. Not happy how it turned out. I tried to put it in his hair and it didn't work out great. So I ended up having to try and figure it out. But I wanted to keep it because of how long it took and the face. So if you get up kind of close, you can kind of see the shading and stuff that I did. And it took forever to get the face just right. Proportion-wise, it's not my favorite. There's this huge chin, and I didn't know how to do the neck, and so I kind of had to flutter with it. Yeah, and I know his eyes, you're like, oh, his eyes are weird. That's what his eyes look like, because he's a Witcher. I'll put that one back up here. Try at least. There we go. Okay, so that one's done. And then I did this one. This one looks simple, but it took a long time to do. It was just my paint palette that slid down. So this one, you start in the middle with your lightest color, and then you go all the way out from there, and you cannot lift your brush. I can show you. Can I show you the brush? I cannot, because it's dirty. But I can model it for you with another brush. So actually, I'll model it with you, my favorite brush. So this is my favorite brush. I like a nice thick handle on a brush. So what you do is you start off in the middle, and then you have to continuously, and so you see how I got that like that because I had to turn my wrist, but it actually ended up working out pretty good because it looks like there's you're going through it. So then I started doing that. You have to go all the way around, and then if you start getting a really high ridge on it, you have to stop and wash your brush, completely clean it, dry it off, and then start again. So it was very technically difficult to kind of get this tunneling effect that you get. And it actually turned out pretty good, kind of the tunneling on it. So this is actually going to be gifted to somebody in the future, and I got to put it way over here so it's out of the way of everything. Okay, what's the next one on the list? Next one on the list is the Little Food Pantry that I did, and you'll have to go and watch that in order to see that one, because that one I cannot lift up and put here. And the next one I did is this guy. This is Superman, so you put in the background, which is not easy at all. And then I used a different technique to get him in there just right, and I really like how this one turned out. So this background, I really liked this technique, so I've actually incorporated it into several of the other paintings that I've did, and I'm going to have to change it up because I don't like looking at paintings and you're like, oh, I can see where they stole that technique and used it in this one, and then it's like the same painting over and over and over again. I'll show you some of the ones that I have ready to go, but I really liked how this turned out, so I kind of did it on some other ones. So this is actually the 19th painting overall and the 12th painting that I did in in quarantine. This one's titled Superman. Okay, and then I have one more that I did just a couple of days ago. This one is modeled off of No Man's Land and Flanders Field, so it's kind of putting the two together. I kind of like how this one turned out. I did use the straight technique back here, but I wanted to show like some depth and that there, there's a trench and stuff. And so you put in the sky first, and then you paint in everything else that, beyond it looks kind of pretty nice, but then you have this area where, devastation. And then the poppies. So I can show you some detail on this. It's kind of hard to see, but it does look like, there's a little bit of a fire happening way back behind these mountains, and the same thing kind of on this side as well too. So when you're far away, you really don't see the detail, but then when you get up close, you can. Come on, focus. I don't know why it doesn't want to focus. Because you liked it up close. Likes it really close like that. So you can see some of the detail I put in. There it goes. So these are not happy little trees because it's No Man's Land. Okay, so that was the last one I did there, and now I'm going to show you some because of the ones that you have to prep. And so I prepped these ones, and you will see, how I use that Superman technique. So here's this one. So you can see how it kind of looked like the Superman one, but here I have, it's black and gray. So I have that one that's ready to go. And then I have this one, so kind of the same technique, but I kind of blended it a little bit more. I really like how this one turned out, the sky. It really looks cool. I really like it when you see it in person and from different angles, it kind of changes on you. I really like how that turned out and how this black and everything, and that there's these lines in there. I don't know, I really like it. I also like blue, the color blue, so a lot of my paintings have blue. Oh, there's this one here. I did the same thing, but kind of a different way. I kind of made it a little bit more chaos than the other ones. So it kind of looks nice, but then you have this cloud layer, and then just the blue down here for right now. So these are all just paintings that are prepped, that I'll be using in the future to paint. But right now they're just sitting there. And then I tried a completely different technique for this last one here. Again, you're just putting in the sky in the background. Trying to kind of get the more of a streaks. I really do like how this one turned out. It's not really looking really cool on the camera. But in person it looks kind of cool. So I like how that one turned out. There's going to be trees and stuff that I'm going to be putting in this one. This is more of a teal type color, not more of a blue color. On my screen it looks blue, but it is a teal. Kind of an agua color. Yeah, it's not showing up on there. It kind of looks like this cloud kind of is starting to wrap itself. I really liked it. So those are the ones that are prepped. I have 4 of them that are prepped. There's actually a 5th one, but I gave up on it, put it away because it didn't turn out the way I wanted to. So a total of 20 paintings I've done so far. 13 of them have been done in quarantine. I see that there's a message right now. Mrs. Schultz says the Bob Ross one is my favorite. Are you referring to the one, I think she's referring to this one that she likes. Pretty sure. That's what Mrs. Schultz, my 2nd grade teacher. And now she just says, however, the Corey McBride one is awfully good too. So she's referring to, going through my stack of paintings. she's referring to this one that she likes as well. So two of them that are completely different techniques and different, same sizes, but different techniques. I was kind of playing with the idea of maybe doing like a couple of paintings where if you put them next to each other, like doing different season ones. One would be like fall, winter, spring, summer. That's not the way that they go. Wait, it is the way they go. The seasons aren't linear. They go in a circle. So you can start wherever the heck you want. So I can start at fall, say fall, winter, spring, summer. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, there are all of my paintings. Again, 20 of them and 13 of them done in quarantine. I do not have room for all of them, and then I have 4 of them prepped, so that would be 24 total. Oh, I did do another one. I did another one last night. I just haven't added it to my book yet, and I keep a book of all my paintings because I forget which order they're in. But I think I'm going to write on the back of them. So I did this one because the seniors from Montello right now are they're kind of struggling. So I thought I would do a painting just in honor or in memory of them. And actually this background was going to be one for a Wonder Woman, because she's such a symbol of strength. And I thought, hey, I'm going to use the background of Wonder Woman to do this one. So this is the first one I actually use lettering in. No, it's not. No, the Apollo one I put in USA on. So technically it's not. But I tried doing it with paint pens first, didn't work out, so then I had to paint over it. So all of this is done freehand, just painting it in there, and it looks better if I did it freehand. I really like how this one turned out, so maybe in the future I might do some more lettering like that. So actually this is my 21st painting, so this is the 21st painting in my whole painting collection, and the 14th painting that I've done in quarantine. So that is all of them. 47 minutes worth of me talking about my paintings. Because somebody requested that I go through all of my paintings, which are now all stacked up here around me. I also got some new stuff today, so I'll show you that. So I got some really fine-tipped so we can kind of do a little bit of show and tell here way at the end. Maybe round this out to a good old hour. Can't believe I've been talking about my paintings for an hour. Nobody's going to want to listen to this whole thing for an hour. If you guys watch this whole thing for an hour, you guys are like really nice. But nobody's going to want to watch me talking about my paintings for an hour. That's crazy. So these are really fine-tipped ones. So I'm going to have to like really baby these guys. Oh, look how beautiful that is. That's never going to look like that ever again. It's never going to look like this ever again. Oh. I think I'm going to keep all of these as well, like the holders for them. And so then I'm going to have to, like, if I use them, I'm going to have to take care of them because these are actually artist ones. I kind of splurged on these ones, but I figured, I'm going to be in quarantine for a while, and it just, you just got to do stuff to get you through. So I'm going to put those in my drawer of paintbrushes, and I will show you my drawer of paintbrushes. And I know I got a lot, but they're all different. So here's my drawer of paintbrushes. Some of them are pretty damaged. This one I damaged, so the inside is completely smashed. This one I use quite a bit. It's just a regular painter's brush. Oh, what are you doing in there? You know I hate you. You are not allowed in this drawer. You are going in the drawer of I hate you. I hate fan brushes. And I bought a whole bunch of fan brushes. And they're not allowed in this drawer. Because I do not like fan brushes. I'm going to kind of tip this a little bit. These guys can kind of sit up. I like to put them in like a drawer or in a pan. I do not like them. I do have a holder that has them sit straight up, but I like to have them lay flat because when you wash them, you just want to get them back to the shape that they were in originally. And if you have them sitting this way, I can do it with this one because it's just a regular paintbrush. But if you have them sitting like this, eventually they're going to take that shape. And that's what happened with some of them, like this one, why the inside completely collapsed and is smashed inward because I left it in water overnight. And I've done that with some other ones, but they're actually laying on a slant, and they're okay. And I bought more brushes because some of these I've washed over and over and over again, and they just get worn out. So these are more like watercolor brushes, but I really like them because you can get like a nice fine line to them. These ones, I really like these ones, but I abuse them a lot. I mean, I use them to do this. That's how much I abuse them. And literally my thing is pounding. So there's a ton of those where they're like literally I bang on them to get like a cloud effect, to get like a brush, bushes, trees. And then I'm really excited about these. These came today, and these were really cheap. Cause look at them. They're beginner paintbrushes. I don't buy anything really expensive except for those really fine ones because there's no other way to get them. And I think all of those that I just bought, the 5 of them, were $10. So, no, do your little math. Can you do the math on that? I hope you can. If you got 5 of them and paid $10 for them, it means each one of them is worth $2. Hopefully that's what you got. So I like the short brushes. Like, here's my favorite brush, and I like the shortness, so I really like, I really like how it feels in the hand. It took me a long time to find these ones, and because they're beginner brushes, but I really do like this one. He's my favorite. I like how it feels in my hand. I like when you get and he's starting to fray. He's starting to fray. Which this one's very, like, it is crunchy. Yeah, see, I don't know if you could have seen the dust that just came off of all of it. Oh my gosh, it's all in the air. Yeah, they're really cheap. Yeah, they're really cheap. That's all right. I can super glue that on. Even if it does come off, then it's easier to clean. It's kind of funny. That way, if I'm using it like this, and it busts, like there's hair coming out of it already, it doesn't bother me because they were cheap. So all of these in this set were, I think they were $10 as well. Yeah, it's just so much coming off. Ugh. But that's fine, because I'm going to be using them for what I was just showing you. This one, yeah, he's starting to really fray. Poor guy. I'm going to have to find one like him so I can get another one. But when you put paint on him, he gets really a fine edge to him. A really, really fine edge. And then you can just like put a nice edge on a painting and then just blend it in. Oh, he's wonderful. So I like how these ones are, yeah, they're all kind of, that's all right. I do like the flat edges on them. There were some brushes that I had that were kind of fanned over, and I ended up cutting them to just get that nice flatness, and I do like how flat they are. But they're cheap. They're really, really cheap, but that's all right. They will be good for what I do. and they will go down in my drawer down here. So all my paintbrushes, they go in one drawer, and then the one up is my paint pens and my fan brushes. I mean, I got a whole collection of fan brushes. Any size you would ever want, because I thought, oh, I'll get some fan brushes, and they were pretty cheap when I bought them. And they do look pretty. Don't they look pretty? They are. They're so pretty. But I can't use them because I'm not good with using them. I mean, they look pretty, but I don't know how to use them. I mean, I've tried. It doesn't work. And then I do have a whole drawer of palette knives, but I don't really use them. The only one that I really use is the Bob Ross one. So let's get all of these guys in their home as well. And I see that these were all made in China. Who cares? So these are more rounded. So I'm kind of interested. I don't have any round brushes, but I'm kind of interested. Like, yeah, I can feel like this handle wants to come off. Yeah, it's not. It's fine. But they're more of a rounded. So you can see you get more of a roundness to them. Kind of interested to see how those will work. Yeah, these, you know, they're cheaps, but I can't afford. Like, I'll show you the different types of paints I have. I'll just show you the different types with my whites. So there's this type of paint from Sargent Art, and they're pretty cheap. Then you have Apple Barrel. These ones are thicker than this one. I did an experiment last night. This is thinner, this is thicker. Quick drying, which I like. But you can put a little bit of water in them, and then you're all good. Made by the company Plaid. So I'm in a dilemma right now because I have some paints that I need badly. Like if anybody goes to Walmart and they happen to find this guy, he's Pavement, okay? Pavement. 21490E. They only sell these. Joann Fabrics doesn't really sell these. Joann Fabrics isn't open. They are, but you have to buy stuff online, and they don't have Apple Barrel. Because Apple Barrel right now, Plaid, the company that sells them, is closed. Because they're not essential. Yes, they are. I'm sorry. They're essential to me. I need them for my sanity. And I'm almost out of this guy, and I love this guy. This is like, I live in pavement land. And he's almost dead. Like I have a black, but I have plenty of black. I have this whole bottle of black. So there's the small bottles, which have slightly different numbers. So this is 20504E, and this is 20404E. So the bigger one, they cost $2.50, and these ones right now cost 50 cents. But there's still paint in here, and I don't. It's hard to get it out, but there's still paint in there, and I can't throw it out. So these guys I bought in a whole collection, and they cost, I don't know, there was like maybe 10 of these in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, there was 12. 12 in that collection. I think they cost, I want to say they cost like $20. Maybe not even that. They were really cheap. But these are like, you know, like for crafts and stuff. This is also for crafts, so it's not necessarily you just use this for acrylic painting, which is what I'm doing. This can be used on a lot of stuff. But you put water on it and it washes away. Oil doesn't do that. So I have two different kinds. These guys are closed. These are being sold, but they only have a few colors. And so I'm in a crisis because I don't have all of my colors. So there we are. I'm going to round this out at exactly 1 hour. 1 hour of me talking about painting. At least you didn't have to watch an hour of me painting and then you watching basically the paint dry. Because that's boring.